Module 2, Addition and Subtraction Relationships. Topic A, reason about take from situations. Lesson 1, represent result unknown problems and record as addition or subtraction number sentences. As you've seen in my previous videos, I teach my scholars a little chant. We're going to read, we're going to draw, we're going to write. What are we going to do? We're going to read, we're going to draw, we're going to write. So here is our first word problem. And scholars at this time, some of them have to be reminded, word problem means there are words in the problem. 6 people are on the bus. 2 people get on the bus. How many people are on the bus now? I remind my scholars, as you're solving word problems, you need to think about, how do we know if we're going to add? How do you know if we're going to subtract? What do we do if we add? What do we do if we subtract? And we're going to read the problem one more time. 6 people are on the bus. 2 people get on the bus. How many people are on the bus now? So if the scholars have this word problem in their book, I have them write on the word problem. What do we know from the word problem? Yes, we know 6 people on the bus, so scholars will circle the number 6. 2 more people get on the bus. And then they're taught to draw a line under the question, reading it as they draw it. How many people are on the bus now? Next thing they do is draw a picture to go with the word problem. I always have some type of illustration for them, or I might even draw the picture. So what is the first thing we need to do? We know there are 6 people who are on the bus. So they'll draw 6 circles. We do it the math way. 2 more people. You'll notice it's set up as a 10 frame. And we do that because they can see the 6 right away. But to help them, they're told to draw a circle around the 6. Now their math picture should match the numbers in the problem. Now, boys and girls, we just circled what? We circled 6 and 2. So that is, what do we call the 6 and a 2? Yes, we call the parts. So what would our number sentence be? Are we going to add or subtract? Yes, we need to write our addition sentence. And our addition sentence must match our picture. So what was our first part? 6. 2 more people got on the bus, plus 2. And you'll notice I have a line under here because that's the unknown. That's what we're solving for. How many people are on the bus now? 8. Scholars can look at this and know this is 6, 7, 8. Or some scholars will look at it right away and know the total is 8. So we read, we drew our math picture, we wrote our number sentence. The last thing we do is to write our sentence. 8 people are on the bus. So again, as we're solving word problems, we need to ask, how do we know when we add or subtract? What happens to the total when we add? What happens to the total when we subtract? Here's our second problem. 8 people are on the bus. 5 people get off the bus. How many people are on the bus? Again, we'll read it a second time. 8 people are on the bus. 5 people get off the bus. How many people are on the bus now? What do we know? Right, 8 people are on the bus, so we're going to circle 8. That's correct. 5 people get off the bus, circle the 5. And we circle our question. How many people are on the bus now? What is the next thing we're going to do? Yes, we're going to draw our picture. What are we going to draw first? 8 circles. Did you notice anything about your circles? Yes, it looks like the top one. This is where it's going to be hard for some scholars, because some scholars will want to draw 5 more circles because they're so used to doing that with the addition problems. And that's where it's going to be really important that they reread. 5 people get off the bus. How can we show 5 people got off the bus in our picture? Yes, we can cross it off. And since we know this is 5, we can cross it straight across because we already know it's 5, because we can look at that and see that it's 5. Now we have to be very careful when we're writing our number sentence. We're going to start with the total because there were 8 people on the bus. Minus 5 because we cross out 5. 5 people got off the bus. How many people are on the bus now? 3. 3 people are on the bus now. Reminder, as we solve word problems, we need to ask, how do we know when to add or subtract? What happens to the total when we add? What happens to the total when we subtract? We're still on Module 2, Topic A, Lesson number 2. Subtract all or subtract 0. For some scholars, they're going to get this right away. For other scholars, you're going to have to make sure they have plenty of practice. They can be using their hands for counters, number path, or objects. I would recommend that you use cubes for this for the scholars to show taking away. Again, this is introduction to subtraction, and they have to get that into their head looking at their signs. And while we're working, I have my scholars circle the signs just to remind them what they're working on. For adults, 3 minus 0, we get it quickly. But again, some of the scholars are not going to understand that right away, so you're going to have a lot of practice. Do a lot of it with your scholars. Okay. Lesson number 3. The title sounds harder than what it actually is. Subtract 1 or 1 less from the total. Subtract 1. 6 minus 1 equals 5. Right? So subtract 1 less from the total. So 1 less from 6, 1 less from 6 is 5. So that's the tricky part, when you're reading it. 6 minus 5 equals 1. Some of your scholars will right away look at that and see how they're related, and they'll be able to get the answer right away. Other scholars will need to practice using manipulatives, even their fingers. 6 minus 1. Right away, they know this is 5. 6 minus 5. Answer is 1. Of course, you can't use your fingers here. So that's where they will need the cubes, circles to help them. They're going to have to practice using manipulatives. While you're working with them, also ask, what happens when you subtract all? What happens when you subtract 0? Practice, practice. Thank you.